In the quiet town of Ridgefield, where everyone knows your name and trust is the foundation of life, one dark night unraveled it all. Emily Hartwell, beloved daughter, friend, and beacon of hope, disappeared without a trace. But as the search began, the truth emerged from the shadows, a horrifying betrayal by someone she trusted the most. Why would someone take the life of a girl who only spread light? What drove a trusted family friend to commit the unthinkable? And how did Detective Clara Monroe uncover the chilling truth, piece by agonizing piece? Prepare yourself for a story that will test the limits of trust, the depths of obsession, and the resilience of a shattered community. Stay with Silent Crime Case, where we unravel the darkest mysteries and give a voice to the silent victims. This is not just a story. It's a journey into the heart of betrayal. Emily Hartwell was the heartbeat of Ridgefield, a quaint, peaceful town nestled among rolling hills. Known for her infectious laughter and boundless optimism, Emily symbolized the kind of charm that drew everyone in. She was the glue that held her circle of friends together and the pride of her family. Life in Ridgefield revolved around its close-knit community, and Emily was the thread running through it all. On the evening of October 18th, Emily's routine seemed as ordinary as ever. She met her friends at Cornerstone Diner, a favorite local hangout. The evening passed with the usual chatter of shared dreams and innocent gossip. But unbeknownst to everyone, this night would end in tragedy, shaking Ridgefield to its core. Emily's father, Richard Hartwell, waited for her at home, glancing at the clock as it ticked past her usual curfew. Emily was never late, and by the time 11 p.m. struck, a sinking feeling set in. Desperate calls to her phone went unanswered. By dawn, Richard's unease turned to panic. Search parties were quickly organized, and within hours, Ridgefield's peace unraveled. The discovery of Emily's lifeless body deep in Whispering Woods sent shockwaves through the town. Found in a state of unspeakable violence, her death shattered the idyllic calm Ridgefield had long prided itself on. The crime scene left more questions than answers. How could someone harbor such evil in this sanctuary of trust? Fear and suspicion began to creep into Ridgefield's tight-knit community. Parents bolted their doors earlier than ever. Children were kept indoors, and neighbors started to look at one another with suspicion. Whispers of betrayal took root, and the foundation of trust began to crumble. Unbeknownst to everyone, the answer to their horror lay disturbingly close, hidden behind a familiar face. October 18th began like any other day for Emily Hartwell. Bright and ambitious, she attended her college classes with an energy that inspired her peers. Her plans for the evening were simple: meet her best friend Mia for coffee before heading to the diner for a lively night with their group. Emily's friends loved her warmth and natural ability to make everyone feel at ease. That night at Cornerstone Diner, the atmosphere was as vibrant as ever. Emily, surrounded by her friends, seemed radiant, her laughter filling the room. Burgers, milkshakes, and shared jokes created an ambiance of innocence and joy. For Emily, the night felt like a perfect snapshot of the life she cherished. At 10 p.m., the group began to disperse. Emily, always punctual, promised her father she'd be home on time. The walk through Ridgefield's quiet streets was familiar territory, a ritual she had performed countless times. Yet something about this night felt different. The air carried an eerie stillness, and the usually comforting silence of Whispering Woods felt oppressive. As she turned a corner, a voice called her name. It was Owen Bradley, her father's trusted friend and someone she had known all her life. Owen offered her a ride home. Trusting him implicitly, Emily accepted. It was a decision that sealed her fate. The car ride began with small talk, but Emily soon sensed something was off. Owen seemed distracted, his responses curt and his demeanor uneasy. Before she could question him, Owen veered off the main road heading into the dense woods. A sense of foreboding gripped Emily. Her unease turned to terror when the calm facade Owen had worn for years crumbled, revealing a chilling darkness she had never seen before. A desperate struggle ensued. Emily fought with every ounce of strength she had, clawing and kicking in an attempt to escape her captor. The quiet woods bore silent witness to her screams, swallowed by the thick night. Owen's strength overpowered her resistance, and the violence that followed was unimaginable. In those agonizing moments, Emily's vibrant life was extinguished, her final cries fading into the void. What the woods also bore were subtle clues, 2 distinct sets of footprints left in the damp soil. These, partially washed away by rain, would later become a critical piece of evidence. Owen dragged Emily's body deeper into the woods, covering her with leaves and branches in a futile attempt to hide his crime. Returning to his car, he meticulously wiped down every surface, disposing of anything that could tie him to the scene. But as Owen drove away, his mind raced. Guilt, fear, and paranoia churned within him. And though he tried to act normal, the weight of his actions began to crack the facade he had built so carefully over the years. He didn't know it then, but the footprints he left behind were the first step toward his undoing. The morning of October 19th shattered Ridgefield's calm. Ben Parker, a local hiker, ventured into Whispering Woods as part of his usual morning routine. It was a path he had walked countless times, a sanctuary where he felt at peace. But this morning was different. As Ben wandered deeper into the woods, his eyes caught something unusual. Among the fallen leaves and twisted branches, a flash of color stood out. Moving closer, he froze. Emily Hartwell's body lay partially concealed beneath the foliage, her once bright eyes now lifeless. Panic surged through Ben as he stumbled back, his mind struggling to process the scene before him. He raced back to town, dialing the local sheriff's office. By the time the authorities arrived, news had already begun to spread. Ridgefield's residents, who had woken to another seemingly ordinary day, were about to be thrust into a nightmare. Detective Clara Monroe, a seasoned investigator known for her unflinching determination, arrived at the scene. The sight before her was gut-wrenching. Emily's death was no accident. It was murder, calculated and cold-blooded. The initial investigation revealed very little. Footprints partially obscured by rain, fragments of leaves, and the unsettling knowledge that the killer had taken great care to leave minimal evidence. Clara vowed to leave no stone unturned. She knew the answer lay somewhere within Ridgefield's tight-knit community. What she didn't know was just how close the killer was to those she was sworn to protect. The revelation of Emily's murder rippled through Ridgefield, shattering its illusion of safety. Parents, who once let their children roam freely, now kept them close. Doors that were rarely locked were bolted shut, and every stranger became a potential threat. The community's trust, the foundation on which it had thrived, was eroding. Richard Hartwell was inconsolable. Emily had been his world, and her loss left a void that nothing could fill. Friends and neighbors rallied around him, but their words felt hollow in the face of such unimaginable grief. Among those offering support was Owen Bradley, whose calm demeanor masked the turmoil within. He played the role of the grieving family friend perfectly, but Detective Clara Monroe noticed subtle cracks in his facade. As Clara delved into Emily's life, she discovered a web of relationships that seemed ordinary on the surface, but hinted at hidden tensions. Emily's friends spoke of minor arguments, fleeting moments of unease, and strange encounters in the weeks leading up to her death. One friend mentioned Emily's uneasiness about a series of late-night phone calls from an unknown number. These seemingly innocuous details began to form a picture, one that pointed Clara closer to the truth. But Clara knew the real challenge lay ahead. The killer was among them, hiding in plain sight, and every step forward brought her closer to uncovering the face behind Ridgefield's darkest secret. Detective Clara Monroe wasted no time launching a full-scale investigation. Her first priority was to comb through every aspect of Emily Hartwell's life, to uncover potential leads. Interviews with her friends and family painted a picture of a young woman adored by many, but not without her challenges. Clara's instincts told her that Emily's death was not random, it was personal. Emily's best friend, Mia, revealed a crucial detail. Emily had expressed unease about someone in her life. While Mia couldn't name anyone specifically, she recalled Emily mentioning feeling watched. Clara also discovered that Emily had recently changed her usual route home from college, opting for less frequented paths. The detective turned her attention to the evidence from the crime scene. Footprints partially obscured by rain hinted at a male suspect. Clara's team meticulously re-examined these prints, noting that they were of two different sizes, indicating a potential struggle. Soil and foliage samples from the scene were sent for analysis, and Clara reached out to the state's top forensic experts for assistance. Meanwhile, Clara investigated Emily's phone records. The call logs revealed a series of late-night calls from an unregistered number. Further digging linked this number to a burner phone purchased with cash. Clara's team also found an address saved in Emily's phone that led to an abandoned house near Whispering Woods. Inside, they discovered an old sofa with fresh stains, which, upon forensic analysis, matched Emily's blood. These findings provided a direct connection to her final hours. Each discovery brought Clara closer to unraveling the truth, But the real breakthrough came when they connected these clues to someone in Ridgefield who had always seemed beyond suspicion. As days turned into weeks, Ridgefield's collective anxiety reached a boiling point. Once known for its unshakable sense of security, the town now simmered with fear and suspicion. Residents whispered about potential suspects, and rumors spread like wildfire. The idyllic facade of Ridgefield was irreparably cracked. Parents no longer allowed their children to roam freely, and local businesses saw a sharp decline in activity as people avoided leaving their homes after sunset. Community meetings were held in an attempt to restore some sense of normalcy, but they often devolved into heated exchanges fueled by anger and paranoia. Many demanded immediate results from the investigation, while others questioned the competence of law enforcement. Richard Hartwell, consumed by grief, retreated from public view. Friends tried to console him, but the loss of his daughter had left him inconsolable. His interactions with Owen Bradley, once his closest confidant, became strained. Owen's offers of support seemed almost performative, and Richard began to sense something unsettling about his demeanor. Detective Monroe, keenly aware of the growing tension, made a public statement to reassure the community. She promised justice for Emily and urged residents to remain vigilant, but not jump to conclusions. Privately, Clara's team worked tirelessly to narrow down the suspect list. Patterns began to emerge, patterns that pointed to someone close to the Hartwell family. The breakthrough came when Clara received an anonymous tip about a man seen burning items in his backyard the night after Emily's murder. The description matched Owen Bradley. Armed with this new lead, Clara decided to surveil Owen discreetly, determined to catch him in a moment of carelessness that could unravel his web of lies. Owen Bradley's life began to unravel under Clara Monroe's watchful eye. While the town's focus shifted between baseless accusations and false leads, Clara's instincts zeroed in on Owen. His behavior, once confident and composed, became increasingly erratic. He avoided eye contact during casual conversations, and his previously sociable nature faded into reclusion. Clara's team obtained a warrant to search Owen's home. The search yielded curious findings: a collection of Emily's photos from various stages of her life, several with her face circled in pen. Hidden in a drawer was a journal filled with unsettling entries, detailing a growing obsession with Emily. The most chilling entry read, "She deserves someone who truly understands her even if she doesn't see it now." Clara also analyzed Owen's financial records. Just days before Emily's murder, Owen had withdrawn a substantial amount of cash, raising suspicions about its purpose. Coupled with eyewitness accounts placing his vehicle near Whispering Woods and trace evidence linking him to the scene, the puzzle pieces began to align. But the case wasn't airtight. Clara's pursuit of justice required patience and precision. She decided to set a trap, arranging a casual meeting with Owen under the guise of needing further clarification for her report. What Clara didn't expect was the confession Owen was on the verge of revealing, a moment that would change the course of the investigation forever. The meeting with Owen Bradley was supposed to be routine, but Clara sensed his nervous energy the moment she entered the room. She began with innocuous questions, allowing Owen to lower his guard. Gradually, she steered the conversation toward Emily, her tone calm but probing. Owen's demeanor shifted as he spoke of Emily's kindness and her connection with the community. But when Clara pressed about the night of October 18th, his voice faltered. Beads of sweat formed on his brow, and his hands fidgeted uncontrollably. Clara leaned in, maintaining eye contact. "Owen, is there something you're not telling me?" Silence filled the room, broken only by the ticking of a nearby clock. Owen's lips quivered as he whispered, "It wasn't supposed to happen this way." Clara's heart raced. She carefully pressed further, coaxing him to elaborate. Owen hesitated, his internal struggle evident. Finally, he admitted to offering Emily a ride but claimed the situation spiraled out of control. "She didn't understand, I just wanted to talk," he muttered. Clara's suspicions were confirmed, but she needed more. Her team analyzed Owen's vehicle, uncovering faint traces of blood in the trunk, a match for Emily. Forensic experts pieced together the timeline, strengthening the case against Owen. With his confession and mounting evidence, Clara prepared to make an arrest. At dawn on November the 2nd, Clara and her team executed their plan. They approached Owen's home with caution, aware of his unpredictable state. The early morning air was heavy with anticipation. Clara knocked firmly, her team ready for any resistance. Owen opened the door, his face a mixture of resignation and fear. He raised his hands in surrender before Clara even spoke. "I know why you're here," he said, his voice hollow. Clara calmly read him his rights and placed him under arrest for the murder of Emily Hartwell. As Owen was escorted to the squad car, neighbors peeked through curtains. Their curiosity mingled with disbelief. Ridgefield's quiet streets buzzed with the realization that the killer had lived among them all along. At the station, Clara sat across from Owen in the interrogation room. She remained composed, determined to extract the full story. Owen's confession came in fragments, each word revealing the twisted motivations behind his actions. "I just wanted her to see me," he repeated, his voice trembling. Clara's resolve hardened. Justice for Emily was within reach. The arrest brought a semblance of closure to Ridgefield, but for Clara, the journey was far from over. The trial loomed ahead, promising more revelations and the opportunity to ensure Emily's memory was honored through justice. Detective Clara Monroe's work didn't end with Owen Bradley's arrest. The road to justice required an airtight case to withstand the scrutiny of a trial. Clara collaborated closely with the district attorney, meticulously organizing the evidence to build a narrative that would leave no room for doubt. Emily's autopsy report confirmed the brutal nature of the crime, detailing injuries that matched the timeline and forensic findings. The bloodstains discovered in Owen's car were pivotal, as DNA tests irrefutably linked them to Emily. Footprints from the scene, one of which matched Owen's shoes, further solidified his presence at Whispering Woods. Witness testimonies also bolstered the case. The anonymous tipster's account of seeing Owen burn items in his backyard was corroborated by neighbors who remembered the acrid smell that night. Combined with Owen's journal entries and inconsistent statements, a picture emerged of a man driven by obsession and desperation. As Clara reviewed the evidence one final time, she couldn't shake the emotional weight of the case. Emily's face haunted her, a reminder of why she had pursued this career. Clara's determination to secure justice for Emily fueled her resolve. Every detail, every shred of evidence was prepared to confront Owen's defense team head-on. The trial of Owen Bradley commenced on December 4th, with a packed courtroom and media representatives documenting every moment. The prosecution opened with a powerful statement, painting a vivid picture of Emily's final hours and the betrayal by someone she trusted. Clara's carefully curated evidence took center stage. Photos of the crime scene, forensic reports, and witness testimonies created an undeniable narrative of guilt. The jury's expressions ranged from shock to sorrow as the prosecutor detailed Owen's obsession with Emily, using excerpts from his journal as damning evidence. Owen's defense team attempted to humanize him, portraying him as a man struggling with mental health issues and insisting that Emily's death was a tragic accident. They argued that Owen's confession was coerced by emotional manipulation during interrogation. Clara, who had conducted that interrogation with utmost care, bristled at the insinuation but remained composed. Cross-examination of witnesses brought tension to the courtroom. Mia, Emily's best friend, recounted their final conversation, tears streaming as she described Emily's growing unease about an unnamed figure. Neighbors testified about Owen's increasingly erratic behavior in the weeks leading up to the murder, adding to the prosecution's case. As the trial progressed, the weight of Ridgefield's loss bore heavily on everyone present. Clara's commitment to exposing the truth kept her focused, but even she felt the emotional toll of reliving Emily's tragedy day after day. Just as the trial seemed to be reaching its conclusion, a shocking revelation changed everything. Clara's team discovered a piece of overlooked evidence, a voicemail Emily had left on Mia's phone the night of her murder. Mia, overwhelmed by grief, had forgotten its existence until prompted to review her old messages. The voicemail, recorded minutes before Emily encountered Owen, revealed her fear. "Someone's following me," Emily's trembling voice said. "I think it's Owen, but I don't understand why." The message, authenticated by forensic audio experts, provided a chilling account of Emily's final moments and left no doubt about Owen's intentions. Presented in court, the voicemail silenced the room. Owen's defense team scrambled to counter its impact, but the message's emotional weight was undeniable. For the jury, it humanized Emily in her final moments, showcasing her fear and vulnerability. The revelation reinvigorated the prosecution, leaving Owen visibly shaken. His defense team requested a recess, but the damage was done. The voicemail, combined with the mountain of evidence already presented, solidified the case against him. Clara, though exhausted, felt a renewed sense of purpose. The voicemail was the final piece of the puzzle, a voice from beyond the grave demanding justice. After weeks of emotional testimony and meticulous argumentation, the jury reached a decision. On January 15th, the courtroom was filled with a tense silence as the foreperson rose to deliver the verdict. "We find the defendant, Owen Bradley, guilty of first-degree murder." The words echoed through the courtroom, bringing a mix of relief and heartbreak. Richard Hartwell, seated in the front row, broke into silent tears. Clara felt a wave of satisfaction tempered by the reality that no verdict could bring Emily back. The judge's sentencing was swift and firm. Owen received life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The judge's remarks highlighted the betrayal of trust and the premeditated nature of Owen's actions. "Your actions have not only taken an innocent life but have shattered an entire community," she said. Outside the courthouse, Ridgefield residents gathered, united in their grief and relief. For the first time in months, the town could begin to heal. Clara addressed reporters briefly, reiterating her gratitude to the community for their support and urging vigilance to prevent future tragedies. In the aftermath of the trial, Ridgefield began its journey toward healing. The scars left by Emily's murder would never fully fade, but the town's residents found strength in each other. Vigils were held in Emily's memory, and a scholarship fund was established in her name to support young women pursuing higher education. Richard Hartwell decided to leave Ridgefield, unable to bear the constant reminders of his daughter's absence. Before his departure, he visited Clara Monroe to thank her. "You gave Emily a voice when she couldn't speak for herself," he said, his gratitude evident despite his sorrow. Clara returned to her work with a renewed sense of purpose. Emily's case had been the most challenging of her career, but it reminded her why she had chosen this path. She vowed to continue seeking justice for victims who could no longer fight for themselves. For Ridgefield, life gradually resumed its rhythm. Children played in the streets again, and neighbors began to trust one another once more. The shadow of Emily's tragedy lingered, but so did her memory, a testament to resilience and the enduring power of community. The story of Emily Hartwell became a reminder that even in the darkest moments, justice could prevail, and the light of those lost could continue to shine through the lives they touched. The tragic story of Emily Hartwell reminds us of the fragility of trust and the devastating consequences of betrayal. In Ridgefield, a quiet town once untouched by darkness, the light of Emily's memory now shines as a beacon of resilience and justice. Detective Clara Monroe's relentless pursuit of the truth brought closure to a grieving family and community, proving that even in the darkest moments, justice can prevail. But this case leaves us with an unsettling question. How well do we truly know the people we trust most? Thank you for joining us on Silent Crime Case, where we delve into the mysteries that hide in the shadows. If you found this story gripping, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true crime tales that uncover the silence behind the crimes. And remember, the truth is always closer than it seems. Until next time, stay vigilant.